All right, backseaters, it's Monday, and you're back with Mondays with Mike, or Mighty Mike, depending on who you talk to. Some days I feel mighty, other days I don't. So, but we're out on the streets of St. Paul, Minnesota right now. Hold on just a second. I gotta mute myself. Was waiting to go live. It has been a busy morning. A lot of stuff going on. Our CAT team assisted with White Bear Lake and North St. Paul PD on trying to pick up a male that threatened his girlfriend last night with a weapon, and they had him put down at a house, and they were going to do a warrant and grab him out of the house, but he left, and they ended up in a chase with him, and he fled the house. He was driving at a high rate of speed on the highway and ended up crashing and then running and jumping into a pond, which I'm going to give you a piece of advice for criminals. When it's in the 40s in Minnesota and it hasn't warmed up yet, don't jump in a pond. You're going to get hypothermia and you'll be giving up within a few minutes, which is exactly what happened. And fortunately, we were able to take the subject into custody without anyone being hurt. And so great job by North St. Paul PD, one of our suburban agencies, and the White Bear Lake PD, who persisted on following up and tracking this guy down. So, and as the county often does, we help in any way we can. We were ready to assist them if needed with the SWAT team, but it didn't come to that point because he left the house. So, hello to all the backseaters. For any of you who haven't seen us before, my name is Undersheriff Mike Martin, and I work for the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office in the capital city of St. Paul, Minnesota. We have the most densely populated county in the state. We're right across the river from the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County, and we also have the most diverse as far as demographics, population in the state. Our sheriff is Bob Fletcher. He was reelected in January of this year. Again, he about 2 years ago now, when COVID hit, and in the follow up of the George Floyd incident in Minneapolis, he decided to start live streaming his patrols to educate people on where we are. Excuse me, sorry. He wanted to educate the public and show them what we do day to day. The type of work we do, the things we talk about as we're driving around, the fact that we're human and we have issues in our lives that go beyond police work and law enforcement, and talking about how those can affect our jobs. You've seen the CAT team has had 3 new babies here in the last few months. I have forbidden my wife from coming down to visit the office because I don't know what's in the water. And we already have 5 kids, so but the sheriff wanted to show people, what we really do and what we're all about, and hopefully, that officers are human too. We draw our applicants and our sworn officers from the same community groups that every other business does, and we have some awesome deputies that work for us that do everything from community outreach to our correctional officers who run the jail, our youth programs, Inspector Chanu Lee runs, and our carjacking and auto theft team that I'm fortunate enough to oversee, our intel and our violent crime enforcement team, and of course our patrol deputies. The patrol deputies are what I would call the backbone of the sheriff's office. They're the ones that are out there when you call 911 that are going to show up. And
yeah, 683, please. Golf Foxtrot, 683. Did a little bit of a wheel shake. Mask on Kia.
Wow, that's Deputy Pat Scott. You might have heard in the back. Sorry, I had my radio down a little lower. He's asking about having someone run a plate.
Right now, go back with the plate one more time. I think it was Golf Foxtrot 683. Trying to catch up to it here. Westbound 6 coming up on Mount.
So he's following a vehicle. It may have a license plate from another vehicle on it.
Foxtrot 863. South on Mariah from 6.
Excuse me. Excuse me. So,
nope, it's coming back clear out of Frizzly.
All right. So the vehicle he's following is not listed as stolen right now. That doesn't mean it's not. It may be an unreported stolen, but it's driving a little crazy, and we will see how that goes. Sadly, the Minnesota Wild got the boot from the Stanley Cup playoffs this week, beat by the Dallas Stars, the team that we despise the most because they stole our beloved North Stars back in the day. And you'll still run across people who will wear shirts that say Norm Green sucks. He was the owner of the North Stars that moved the team to Dallas. And
44-49 Tango. 44-49 Tango. Can we get another Carter team so we figure this out, please?
And years later, the Norm Coleman and the folks in the city of St. Paul were able to lure another franchise, the Minnesota Wild, and that's our hockey team, and we claim to be the state of hockey here in Minnesota. Pretty sure we're the only state that has a hockey day. If there's another one, they're just imposters. So, but I watched the Boston Bruins Florida game last night, and that was a tremendous game that ended up with Florida winning. So it was a fun game to watch, unless you're a Boston Bruins fan. So we're on the east side of St. Paul. We're eastbound on Maryland Avenue. This is the time of day where we start to see some of our issues pick up. Kids get out of school. They're starting to get a little anxious because it's getting close to the end of the year.
Reserve 1496 and 1503 EOT.
The sun's finally out, which always...
Fire was not yet recovered.
2266.
Results in increased crime as it warms up. People are outside. They run into each other. Folks that maybe have been...
5923 Prairie Meadow Drive, Shoreview on a DOC. Caller says his neighbor's outside yelling at him and the movers they have, accusing the caller and the workers of using meth, just generally harassing them. White female, middle-aged, heavy-set, blue shirt, blue jeans.
So folks that have been cooped up start running into each other. That can create issues. Kids aren't in school in the summer, which gives them more free time, and a lot of times that they're not involved in anything positive like sports or summer camps or that kind of stuff, and that can create issues when they don't have good positive adult role models around. So we do try to fill some of that gap with our youth programs. Youth Plus, we call it. Inspector Chanu Lee is in charge of that for our agency. I will try to be quiet if there's something on the radio that's popping.
5230
You're hearing a lot of squads are going EOT, end of tour.
Product assistance and area check Ramsey and Grand.
4504, you can be clear, open traffic backup.
Vehicles I've seen eastbound on Ramsey in the blue Hyundai Sonata, black male teens.
So they're letting the dispatchers know that they're done for the day.
Navy Captain 1255.
449 Tango status update. Still working on it. Yep. Those are parties at firearms.
Copy. It matches the description of the robbery on Sherburne. The parties had firearms.
So we're sounds like there was a robbery earlier on Sherburne Avenue in the West District of St. Paul. We're pretty far away from that, but it sounds like they may have spotted some people that match the description of those folks. One of the cool things about the summer when they get the roads cleaned off and sun comes out is people bring out their classic cars, which are fun to see, and finally I can actually identify the difference between one kind of car and another.
We do call a Ramsey Grand Avenue for a juvenile.
All these modern... We're going to stop this guy and talk to him right here about his graffiti.
With the suspect description match the robbery that occurred on Sherburne where the suspect had a firearm. The vehicle's housing eastbound on the Ramsey. Suspect is going to be a black male, mid-teens, a 5'10", thin build, had a COVID mask, a blue COVID mask, black shirt, gray pants. Another suspect is a black male. Information to your role aired at 1526.
365. 364.
1235. Colors key. It's broken into or attempted to last 2 minutes. Suspect is the male on the race. Dark clothing, westbound on foot towards Earl. Left a knife and a lighter in the car. Film 6 for an old 284 Sterling Medics.
369, I copy. 364, copy.
That's a 227. And 5284, do you have a chief complaint?
Negative. Let's get a welfare check at this point.
Copy that. Oh, you're reporting that you?
We're code 4, we have one in custody.
Copy. Code 4, 1 in custody. 15-3.
Ah, boy. We got a 21-year-old grown man graffitiing on this business. The people who own this business are Hmong. They're immigrants. They've worked hard to build this business. And this guy's going to come along and graffiti. 2007. I'm out with a male that was graffitiing on business out on Broadway at 888 Maryland Avenue. These people have worked hard to build this business, and this guy's going to come along and graffiti on their business.
It's about 306. 306. Affirmative. Call Council 29. Council 29, copy.
Your incident has been updated. New message. New message.
So I'm running his driver's license, checking him for warrants. Of course, he has a ID only. He does not have a driver's license.
3931 and 3928.
31.
That's 2052 7th Avenue, permit 204 on an assist in relation to the previous domestic there earlier today. The female has back on scene in the parking lot in a gray Toyota RAV4. She's the caller. She's wanting officers to stand by while she gets some belongings.
You can tell he thinks it's funny, and it's not funny. These people work hard for these businesses, and then a guy who should be at work is out here graffitiing on the side of their business. So
4505 2nd Avenue on arrest. Contact.
2232.
2232.
She put me in route 20 Academy. I was too not from. Hey, Mike.
No, I don't write on other people's property. I'm a man.
Sylvia, do you need a second?
Are you close?
I just got on 96 from 10.
No, I should be fine.
Gabby, let me know.
I got into the Sonata. The Kia should still be there. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, good. 2755.
On the server and robbery, is it just the victim who was armed, or were the suspects also armed with firearms?
Highway 61 at White Bear on an APD, southbound, south of White Bear.
282. Code 4, obvious EOA.
Go ahead, sir.
The blue Hyundai was followed by a white Honda. 1536. 4492. 5183, 5181. That's 183. 5181. 03 West Larpenter, 911. Male, sounds like they're talking Russian, talking about Russian or American currency, possibly guarding at the cemetery. No answer on call back, coming from the back of the cemetery, east of roof on Victoria.
Well, the owner of the business didn't find it. Oh, you fell. Everybody fell. Hold on a second here. Sorry about that. Hold on just a sec here.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just talking with you. It sounded like we had somebody from the catch.
Sorry about that.
Address. We're
Yeah.
going to put the cops alert out here in a little bit.
You all fell down. You jumped out of the back seat and...
Response from the last couple vehicles involved in an attempted strong-arm robbery. Blue Hyundai, white Hyundai, full of people. They all had firearms. Street 1173 Sherman. (364). Can you add Echo Tango Alpha 935 to the call, please?
2232 will be out with that student. 180.
Having 1540.
Callahan Center. Bravo 592. Bravo 592. You can clear this one advised. I'm back on the COP.
Be embarrassed of yourself.
Can I get my green bag? With
Nope,
stuff in it?
absolutely not.
But
Nope.
not the markers and stuff.
Nothing. You don't get anything.
Not even my phone and stuff?
Nope. If you'd have been a decent person, this is expired too.
Ooh, I can't get my phone and stuff.
Well, no,
need my
because I got to download your phone and see where you've taken pictures of your other tags.
Please.
And then you're too dumb to not have the metadata.
I can't get my phone back?
No.
I need my keys on my phone.
Can
I'll
have
bargain
his
with
keys.
you. You can have.
No phone. Nope. I'm downloading it.
I need
See
that
if
for
there's pictures of your other graffiti.
Okay, there it is.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
When will I get my phone back?
Just
Though?
look at his bag.
A couple of years when the case is done.
Dude, I need my phone, bro. That's
This
how.
is the
That's
guy.
the last.
Yeah.
I just need my phone.
Yeah.
You're not getting, it's part of evidence.
It's evidence.
It's going to be part of a
Sorry.
criminal
You're a
prosecution.
big boy now.
Okay.
Act like a big boy.
This is what happens.
You're gonna cry or what?
I'm not gonna cry. It is what it motherfucking is.
Yeah.
I made
When
this
you're
stuff.
when you're caught, well, you know what's going into our property room as evidence because you carry your
Well, I need that.
need what?
I need my planner right
Yeah, no. Because what's in your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Your notes of the graffiti you read.
That's not graffiti.
Okay.
That's art.
It all goes into evidence.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna argue.
All goes into evidence.
You're trespassed from this building, so don't come around here.
Your ID says you live where?
That's
Downtown.
expired.
So where do you live?
Downtown.
What's downtown?
My
When a guy
address.
asks you, Mr. Savage, where do you live? What are you
Bro.
supposed to respond
You
with?
guys can find all.
Fire
All right,
going
let's-
to
let's-
2440 Charles on a fire alarm covering water flow zone 1.
Jesus.
Let's do 4-5.
Well, for the plate, Lima Charlie Zulu Hotel 15.
Received. 1543.
Square 831 or 10.
It is coming back up to St. Paul Solomon for a 2019 Kia Sportage. It's going to be gray color.
Yeah, I think it's
You're welcome. 1544. Squad 180.
GOA is 179, and we can take one of the QOCs.
8296, 8294.
I think it
20 Windsor Lane, number 312 on a medical. 88-year-old female, conscious breathing. Second man info that she has shortness of breath, weak and out of it.
2755. We're going to be relocating one to 2007 Scott to see deal.
Your incident has been updated.
8294, sir.
Your incident has been updated.
Nothing else.
Oh, all right. Sorry to make you all wait, but he was a knucklehead. Decided he wanted to run his mouth the whole time and not answer basic questions. So he is going to be charged. He thought it was funny even when the owner of the business came out and told him
Your incident has
what
been
it costs
updated.
him to repaint the door and what a problem it is. He just thought that was funny. So we'll see how funny he thinks it is. Let me back up here. See if I'm not sure the camera's set the way it should be right now.
1375. Looks like we're canceled. They got the proper code. You can send us to the DOC on Minnehaha.
So let's try to get it recentered. Sorry, you're probably ready to throw up after all the motion on the camera, but you know, this is a perfect example of you got good, hardworking people trying to make a living and run a business here. And this knucklehead is going to write on the side of their business door and thinks it's funny. And they have to pay money. The city actually
2100 to 2499 Race Creek Road
makes them
welfare check of a staff.
remove the graffiti
Female call
and
Your
highly
incident
engaged,
has
didn't
been
want to call for
updated.
help on her own, but didn't know where she was, and that she was in the days in room.
you know, expects them to keep the graffiti clean, so they have to pay money to repaint or to cover that up. And this guy just thinks it's funny. However, I don't think he's ever, number one, been caught, and number two, understood that we can take his cell phone, which I took, and we will download the pictures of other graffiti that he's done in the buildings that it's on, and we will get him charged as an aggregated amount for a felony. Then these businesses will know who he is, and they can civilly sue him for the cost that they've had to pay to clean up their businesses. And then maybe he'll realize that what he's doing is affecting the community, and he should stop doing it. I doubt it that he'll learn that lesson, because he struck me as a spoiled brat, but he at least learned some lessons about what he can and can't get away with today. So it's unfortunate that we have to waste our time on something like that rather than what we would rather be doing. But I know from past experience that when those individuals are arrested for what they're doing and held accountable, that they learn a valuable lesson. And I'm glad we could witness it. And for the owner, the owner was the older gentleman that came out at first. He said that they actually were watching him do it on their video camera, and then they saw me pull up and grab him, and he wanted to let me know that he has video of it, which again will be good for court if it gets to that point. And I haven't looked this guy's criminal history up yet. He didn't have any warrants, but my guess is he's got some experience in the courts, just based on the status of his driver's license. So the other thing is that when there's graffiti in an area, or there's litter and those type of things, it sends a message that people don't care about the community, and that's a welcoming environment for criminals. And so we want order and hopefully send the message that we do care. There's a lot of proud East Siders over here. So that's my soapbox for the day. I particularly do not like people who graffiti. They're not artists. They're just low self-esteem people who try to get attention by writing their name on a door, or on someone's business, and costs a lot of money. So can't take the graffiti off without taking some of the paint off also, so it has to be repainted anyway. And it's sad. It's sad to see
We're good.
good people who have immigrated, came to our country to make a better life for themselves, have built a awesome business that serves the east side, a grocery store and a Hmong food market, and to see some kid who doesn't even live around here graffitiing on their business is sad. And again, it drives home the fact that luck is better than being a good cop sometimes, because I just happen to be in the right place at the right time to catch them. Usually they do it at night, but this young man apparently felt emboldened, and I can't even imagine and you're 21 years out riding on a bicycle, graffitiing on people's business all day.
Which is address B378-6.
So eastbound on look at the calls that are pending. Don't move on to our next on the east side of St. Paul. Hopefully I'm in a better spot now. I know there was a little bit of freezing up, and we can't really control that. We've had been trying to find the best way to get the best coverage, and I'm not a technical guy, as you may have noticed.
Squad 171.
What for?
Squad 171. Could you log me out?
Copy 171 report speaking.
When I first became a police officer, we didn't have cell phones. Cell phones had been invented, and some of the supervisors had a giant brick cell phone in their car, but the majority of us did not, and we had to do everything either over the radio, or we didn't have access to some of the stuff we would do now, like running warrants and checking out someone's story. If someone said, hey, I was over this person, call that person and verify that, you had to go to that house and whatnot. So we definitely have, and of course we didn't have computers in our cars, and we had to know our districts like the back of our hand, or we carried those Hudson map books, and we'd have to look up, if in the rare occasion where we got dispatched to a place that we didn't know where we were going, or to someone else's area. Technology is a huge advantage for us in a number of ways, and it's a disadvantage for the bad guys. They can use the technology, but it also creates a paper trail in their phones and their computers that we can often access. We can track many types of devices and stolen cars, as you hear, but every day it seems like new technology is being invented, and one of the things we're up against is people watch television and they think that just because something can be done on NCIS or one of those crime victim shows, CIOs, that we can do it. And the reality is, a lot of the stuff that they show is stuff that, the technology might exist, but we don't have it. We can't afford it. Or you can't use it for government purposes like civilians can, or we just flat out don't have access to it. And so that raises the public's expectation. And I always find it kind of funny, but not funny, when someone says, well, can't you just access the satellites and get a pig parking lot at that time? No, we can't. We hope that businesses might have.
Go to the domestic 2194 Tango Echo. The caller does not appear to be on scene, but says their 24-year-old son is at the address hiding with his mother.
We may hope that businesses have video cameras, or there's other public safety cameras in areas that we can access, but you'd be surprised though how video cameras are out there on private homes, on governments, on street corners. Give us a pretty half to someone back to where they came from, or try to get a better vehicle or a person. We oftentimes will solve cases by
white, black, or blue Hyundai, Audi.
By basically creating of cameras. We had, and then when he got out of the car where he walked, and we were able to follow him to a convenience store on a number of different types of cameras, and then eventually he went in the convenience store and we got a good facial picture of him, and we're able to help identify him. So
47.
those cameras really help us out, and they're the bane of the bad guys. It's hard to defend yourself when you're on camera holding a gun or doing a shooting or whatever. So I apologize that you fell earlier. I had you mounted on my dashboard with just a simple suction cup and a phone holder, and somehow it lost its grip and you fell down onto the dashboard of the Tahoe. We're northbound on White Bear Avenue, approaching 7th Street. The famous Cherry Pit and the Little Oven are behind us. We passed them, and I didn't mention them because I was talking too much. There are a couple different pairs of cars that are out ripping around, on one on the west side of, or west district of St. Paul, and one further up north in Maplewood and White Bear area, that are chasing each other around, that we currently have folks out looking for.
Bravo 543, I'm you.
Bravo 543.
Hopefully you all saw that Bob and Pat posted that they're we are having an open house this Saturday. You have to go on to the Live on Patrol page to see the details for it. I believe it's at 2 to 5, and it's at the new School for Public Service and Leadership, and many of the Live on Patrol, what are we, personalities will be there, and along with the author of the Live on Patrol children's books will be there selling books and signing them, so we're excited about that. There's nothing better than when the weather gets warmer, the grass is turning green. You can roll down your windows on your car and get fresh air, unless you're doing Live on Patrol and it makes it too loud. Driving westbound on Maryland. I'm going to head back over towards the Central District, see what's going on. We always get these little lulls in the afternoon. It's going to pop off again. Pretty soon, well, it's already open water on the lakes. The ice will go way up north. And people can fish, but the fish, people start to put their boats in the water and their docks in the water. One of my boys is working right now for a company that's putting in people's docks, and it's a good job for young, strong men. I could probably do it for one day, but then I'd be laid up for the next 2 or 3 days, sore.
180.
So, but it's fun to see people getting excited, getting ready for the
Logo Avenue on a male hanging out from the colored neighbor's house.
Warm weather.
White male wearing a hooded sweater, tan jacket, gray sweater.
Plus, spring sports are starting: baseball, softball, lacrosse, soccer. Is soccer spring? I'm sure some of those sports like soccer. There's year-round club teams and whatnot, but starting to see more kids out practicing. I saw some kids playing flag football over the weekend. And when I say I saw some kids, I mean hundreds of kids on a big complex, probably divided up into 6 football fields, playing flag football. It's kind of fun to watch. All my kids have grown out of that stage, other than my daughter's still playing lacrosse and basketball, and her lacrosse season's still going. Or actually hasn't been on that long.
We got it.
So we're still westbound on Maryland. We're at Mendota now, approaching Arcade. When I called that call out and gave out the address, it said I was at Taco John's. And 2 issues there. There's not a Taco John's there. And it made me hungry for some tacos. But I'm not sure why. I gotta find out why the computer-aided dispatch said I was at Taco John's. The thing is, I don't care because I know where I was, but someday if an officer needs help, I want to make sure that it shows the right location, and every once in a while there's some kind of an anomaly in the system. One of the things we can also do is we can put warnings in the system or alerts on addresses. So
Windsor Lane, line request we check on the crew, they're not answering.
For example, if we get if we have a house we repeatedly get called to, and maybe they have someone there who struggles with mental health issues and is violent, we can put alert on there, saying to send more than 1 squad, and a little bit of information that might help, like don't use your sirens when you're approaching the address, because that further agitates the individual. I know there are businesses that have chemical inventories that are dangerous, and they'll have alerts on there. Just if there's a fire, realize there's chlorine tanks or whatever, or gasoline or diesel. It gives info to us and the fire department so that we can respond more safely.
APD, Clarity David, Pipe Bear, they're into the windy slot. No injuries, not blocked.
I saw somebody, the comments go so fast on my computer here, but it looks like somebody said there used to be a Taco John's there. That's a travesty. Taco John's should never be closed. You can close places that don't have good food, but don't close anything that has to do with tacos. Taco John's, Taco Bell's, authentic taco stores, those should last forever. Today when we went to lunch, we didn't run into him. That would have hurt, but we pulled up in traffic next to the new Commissioner of Public Safety, Commissioner Bob Jacobson, and talked to him for just a minute and said hi. He oversees the a number of different public safety agencies, the State Patrol, the DNR, the enforcement folks, the Homeland Security and Emergency Management, State Fire Marshal, the State Emergency Operations Center, and just a great guy, super experienced, both in policing and fire and emergency management, which are the three biggies when it comes to public safety. And we're really lucky to have him over there. And he just hired a new Homeland Security and Emergency Management Director, Christy Rollwagon. And she'll just do a tremendous job. She comes with a strong background she's coming from the airport, but prior to that, Minneapolis and a lot of regional emergency management and Homeland Security groups. So we're real lucky to have her. So we crossed over into the Central District. It's a good thing I just remembered that, so I have to switch radio channels. We are monitoring all the radio channels in St. Paul, all three, as well as the 3 county channels, West, Central, and East, and metro-wide and statewide channels where that get patched for multi-jurisdictional events. So we should catch on if there's something cooking. Southbound on Rice now. This person's driving a little fast in the car in front of us. Traffic on this busy place. It looks like a lot of people are putting comments in about the places they like to eat tacos or Mexican food. I love Mexican food. I could eat Mexican food every meal.
2004 and 2009, black female, floral dress, white
So I will go back through the comments later and see what ideas are in there. Obviously, I love the food on the west side of St. Paul, Boca Chica, and all those, their taco house over there, you name it, anywhere you go over there has food. About hockey earlier. The Twins are playing really well. They look good. So maybe we can hang on to our hopes there, and they will make it past October. I was just thinking this morning about back when the Twins won the World Series, and some of the fun players they had at the time. I was very lucky enough to meet some of them over the years, and great,
the burglary
guys.
occurred yesterday. I can call the caller just to double check.
Ron Rice coming up to University right by the state capitol.
234.
They did legalize recreational marijuana, or the Senate and the House voted to legalize recreational marijuana in Minnesota. That's a big change for us, and now we just have to see how that plays out with regulation and additional legislation, and how are we going to address DWIs related to marijuana. Do we have a quantifiable way to do that without the blood tests? And there's a ton of
Caller just called back again, so the mail's going in the back
issues
end.
and other collateral questions that come up as a result of that. And not the least of which is canines that are trained to sniff out marijuana. And if marijuana is no longer illegal, do we need to retrain those canines, or do we have to do something different? I'm not a canine guy, so I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Tony Body can help us with those questions.
616. I believe the callers in our apartment said they broke in through a window, and it occurred yesterday.
And when we consult, someone said consult other states. We've done that. Our law enforcement associations have done it. Of course, their first advice is don't do it. But it's too late for that now. And then basically it gets down to the legislation and the regulation. Who can grow it? Who can sell it? How do we regulate the dispensaries? What's the law about having it in your car? Some states, it's legal to have it, but you can't have an open package in a car. It's very much like an open bottle of alcohol. So, what the situation's going to be here will be ever evolving, and we'll just have to see where it goes. Our job is to enforce the law and keep people safe, regardless of the decisions that are made. And when the law changes, we change how we operate. And then over time, there's generally case law as cases go to the Minnesota Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals, and then the Supreme Court, and then eventually they may go to the U.S. Supreme Court. But as those cases are developed over time, then we just update how we operate and what we do.
5282, take a second routine.
So.
Copy 5282, second routine, 250 Grand View Avenue West.
53, I come back, the interview. $52.83, 52.82 is one asking for a second.
Copy 5283, sorry, Snelling, General D. Bravo.
You want to help you out with 5283 traffic.
Copy 5281.
So we're on University at Dale, waiting to make a left-hand turn and head south into the Summit Midway area. You can see the light rail train just pulled up on our left. The light rail here runs from St. Paul to Union Depot in the east all the way down to Minneapolis right by Target Field, and midway at US Bank Stadium, or a little over midway, you can get on a train that will take you out to the Mall of America in the airport. You got to get off and get on that, and they're currently in the process of building a new light rail route that's going to go out to the western suburbs. I don't know what the status of that is right now. It's like having a kid. Every time they turn around, they want more money for it, and I don't know if they have enough now to do everything they need to do. I think they just got some more federal funding. The state threw in some funding. But it kind of reminds me of when I was a young kid and I told my dad I wanted to buy a car, and it was only going to be $350. And then he started asking me about insurance and maintenance, and it's going to need new tires soon and all this stuff, and the cost just kept adding up and adding up and adding up, and which I learned over time, because of course I bought the car because I had the $350. So, but it's a major project, and we'll see how it goes and how long it takes to get it built out. Frogtown area. We're northbound on Western in an area that gets frequented a lot by stolen vehicles. So we'll come over here and look around for them.
5181 code 4.
People ask us how do you know a vehicle's stolen before you run the plate? And generally, it's the way they drive. They're driving it like they stole it, swerving all over, maybe racing with another vehicle. Oftentimes they steal the same types of vehicles, so that could be an indicator. Broken windows, they break a window to gain access to the vehicle before peeling the column. Oftentimes they use stolen vehicles to commit other crimes or threaten other people. So, there are a number of ways that we can get an indication that vehicles might be stolen, and then we run the plate and see if they are stolen. Sometimes I get questions about why do you drive the same streets all the time? Well, because those are the streets where stuff happens, and also where we find stolen vehicles or other vehicles we're looking for. We're currently looking for, I think right now we have 4 carjacked, specific carjacked vehicles that we're looking for, and a couple that have been used in other crimes, shootings, robberies. And the best way to look for them usually is to drive.
Egglets by assist on a domestic at the Maplewood Apartments, 2425 Larpenter in apartment 1.
Some of these main arteries, and then
their father pushed their mom down and
watch the side streets.
They're requesting medics. Father's still on scene.
4420 copy.
I'm thankful when they steal a car that sticks out, like a sore thumb, like a Corvette, like a pink Corvette, or a orange Dodge Charger, or something that sticks out and that you're not going to see a lot of. Makes it a lot easier for us. Or they steal a commercial vehicle that has a pickup truck that, you know, says Napa on the side or something.
Chevy. Can you give console 19 a phone call? Thank you.
Hey, Bob, I can't talk right now. Alright, I'll call you in a while. Alright, bye. That was not Bob the Sheriff. If it was Bob the Sheriff, I would have talked to him. But it's Bob, my friend, who's tried to call me twice during this, so I figured I'd answer it. Let him know why I'm ignoring him.
Case number is 10966 and 10966. Thank you.
I want to say thanks to all the backseaters that I ran into this weekend, who were nice enough to say hi to me and introduce themselves and tell me why they watch, and they always have funny stories, things that I forget we even did or said, and they'll laugh telling the stories, and makes me happy to know that people are watching and learning, and especially when they tell me that they learned something new about the police or the law. We're not experts in the law by any means. We're not lawyers, but we learn about the law, and oftentimes are better versed in the laws that we enforce than some of the attorneys that we interact with, because we do deal with that on a regular basis, and we get legal opinions from our county attorneys and city attorneys that let us know about new case laws, and
he is aware that police are en route.
make sure that what we're doing is legally right and that we're making the best decisions that we can. And then we layer that with to do something. Sometimes if you may legally be able to do something like arrest somebody or detain them or whatever, but it's not the best way to proceed or to build confidence or public safety. And so we have to kind of do that. Obviously, we can't do something that we're not allowed to do, but we may be allowed to do something that's more restrictive, but kind of cut a break to people.
But it says Marion University in the median. There's a commando.
It's up northbound on Rice. We just crossed Maryland past Tin Cups, and I know Bob and Pat were out there on Friday night. Hammernick's store is supposed to be really good if you're looking for flooring. I've heard that. I've only been in there once, and that was to chase a bad guy through the front and out the back. So it looked nice while I was running through, out of breath, wishing the guy would give up, which he eventually did. But I'm told by people all the time that if you're looking for flooring, that's a great place to go. It's a great showroom. So we're northbound now on Rice from Larpenter. On our right side is the city of Maplewood. On our left side is the city of Roseville. And behind us is the city of St. Paul. This is where this is where several cities combine. A little further is the city of Little Canada.
Very cooperative.
What department that car came from, and know what city I was in, but it could still be a little confusing. As we go northbound here, then we'll be in the city of Little Canada on the right when we cross the highway, and on the left is still the city of Roseville. Roseville's a large suburb. I don't know how many people they have, residents, but they have the largest mall in Ramsey County. They have a very vibrant commercial area and a great police department with Chief Erica Scheider in charge. We have people from Roseville on our negotiations team, as well as on our SWAT team as tactical operators.
4710 Cumberland, number 107 on a medical. 84 female, conscious breathing, high blood pressure.
60 copy.
1643.
Code 4, 1643.
It's 57 degrees here right now where I'm sitting at the intersection of Rice and County B2. If you trust my Tahoe, which I tend to, but anything above 30 will make me smile. Anything above 40 might lead me to wear short sleeve shirts.
The 43-year-old white male, about 5
And
150 pounds.
Today's the
Only
beginning
wearing
of
boxers.
spring, it feels like.
Copy, thank you.
Well, my caller, I believe, is going to try to open the door for you when you get up there.
Squad for the substation for EOD. Squad 233.
So we're in Little Canada,
234.
headed northbound.
243.
43.
245.
In search of action.
247.
So I really appreciate everyone hanging with me and
Squad 248.
listening to my banter today.
Negative.
I need to end up patrol
Squad
station
255.
in Arden Hills anyway, because I have to inventory the evidence that I took off of this young man that was graffitiing
Squad 255.
on the business.
Squad 528.
528, that last is advised.
In response for the substantial EOD. Squad 2 traffic on 1645.
Six one, copy. Negative. 47. 351. 351. 353.
Somebody asked me over the weekend, who,
358.
you know, the criminals that you deal with, who gives you the worst headaches? Who's the most problematic? I guess that wasn't exactly how they phrased it, but, and you know what I told them was the criminals are bad enough. We expect them to be bad guys, and we deal with them the same. We do what we can to reduce their criminal activity. We lock them up if we have to. If they fight with us, we use the minimal amount of force to get them in custody. The criminals don't give us headaches. They might temporarily get us out of breath. It's the non-criminals. It's the people that should have your back sometimes. It's the bureaucrats and the people who throw up roadblocks to just our everyday lives and doing, what we need to do to, get paid and all that stuff. The headaches are, dealing with that kind of stuff. If we wanted to deal with all that kind of stuff, there's other occupations we could have chosen. I I laugh because I remember being a kid and having teachers say, hey, no one's going to pay you to stare out the window all day. Well, pretty sure that's what I'm doing right now, just staring out the window of my squad car. You know, we have some awesome men and women that work for us in the sheriff's office, and you know, they every day come in and they risk themselves, and you know, a few of us are paid well, but the majority are underpaid for the work that they do, and the risks that they take, but they do it because it's the right thing to do, and it's a noble profession, and you know, they deserve to get paid well. They deserve overtime when they've earned it. They deserve you know, to be taken care of in those ways, and sometimes those are the most trying things that we deal with. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but you know, we're suffering right now from low staffing and trying to get people hired, and it's, you know, those are the toughest battles that we fight, are just getting the resources and the equipment and stuff to do our jobs effectively and safely, and support the community. So that's the beauty of we love you encouragement that makes them want to do their jobs every day. So thank you. On our right hand side is Lake Vadnais. We're going northbound into the city of Shoreview. Sadly, Lake Vadnais last year was where the mother drowned herself and her 3 young kids, and we spent a couple days recovering them and bringing their bodies back for their family. Great, just great work by everyone involved. Our water patrol and the multiple fire departments, the North Star Search and Rescue. I'm going to leave people out, sadly, but just on behalf of the kid and to recover their bodies and whatnot, and if you don't think that takes a toll on the deputies who did that, then you don't really understand what we do every day. So people right now, PTSD is hot in the police world, and especially here in Minnesota. And I was describing to someone the other day that it's like making a lasagna. You just keep adding layers and layers of incidents, suicides, and bad accidents where people are killed, and SIDS deaths, and kids who have been abused, and you just keep adding those layers over and over and over again. It can take a tremendous toll on a deputy or an officer, and obviously the supervisors that are there as well. And especially when you're looking at the course of, you know, career, it can become debilitating. anyway, other than every person's different. I tell people I couldn't be a teacher. I couldn't be a school teacher. I could be like a college professor. But the kids would drive me nuts if I was an elementary teacher. So there's a number of things I couldn't do.
4445.
4440.
Can you run that board, Sergeant?
We're still on Rice Street. We're north on Hodgson here, and we're going to go west. On Highway 96. And lawns, tremendous stuff. Up here, we're passing where the Shoreview Community Center is. A really cool place. There's a nice indoor pool there. Bring your kids to. Kind of cool. There's a library here, and all I've used many times to study over the years. Not when I was in school or had to get something done. It'll be in the next nothing. So, but I wanted to show you a little bit of different side of Ramsey County.
2680 Farrington. Assist medics on a 7-year-old male conscious breathing fell into the head.
And yes,
the admin line.
if you ask Sheriff Fletcher, he will tell you this is County Road G, which Highway 96 is County G. I never heard that before he said it, but I'm taking his word for it because F is on my left side and H is on my right side. Up a mile, so, and down a mile, so I'm pretty sure he nailed that one.
Received, I'll attach it.
So we're gonna end here really soon. I'm gonna take you into the parking lot of our what do you call it? Parking lot of our patrol station. Sorry, we just talked about this morning at a meeting downtown, and I know Friday night Bob and Pat talked about your, as you get older, your fluidity of your brain, the ability to remember things quickly and make decisions suffers, and but your knowledge level goes up, and I'm pretty sure that relates to the way I look at it, which is my brain's filling up, so I'm losing some of the basic stuff. And the stuff I need to know is falling out my ears every once in a while. So this is our patrol station in Arden Hills. It's where awesome deputies work out, keep our contract cities safe and the rest of the county. And I appreciate everybody being here today with me. I wish we could have brought you more action, but we certainly will. So thanks a lot, and